We
Hi, folks.
are live, folks. Hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. Well, actually, no, today isn't Tavern Chat. Today is Dungeons, Dragons, and Discourse because
Mm-hmm. Last
unlike
night was
me
Shamrock.
being, I'm not playing, I'm not being sold today. I have with me none other, Old Man Grognard, Glen Haustrom.
I'm always here.
Well,
Yeah. Old Man Grognard Glen Halson, who needs strong drink.
lead strong, big. I'm about to do a Don Rickles line. Hey, you, big strong pole. Let me guess. Me, lift boulder, get hernia, die. I don't know why that's one of the lines I recognize. I can't get it in my head from Don Rickles, but it's just one of those. It's just one of those lines. So
Never heard of it.
now,
Now, okay, folks. Yeah.
this,
So, what do we got tonight? We got how you been? How
we
you
got
been?
how I been.
How you been? What you drinking?
All right, so despite the McDonald's, and this was actually a Diet Coke from earlier today, but since I still had ice left, and they want to waste the ice because if you go to these goddamn fast food joints, they give you way too much ice because somehow they think they're
Mm-hmm.
saving money doing that. I made my own lemon limeade with a fresh lemon, a fresh lime, a squirt of Splenda, a little extra ice, and absolutely no alcohol. God help me.
Hey, Doc.
Doc, welcome.
Me, I got my Arnold Palmer here, and some
Ooh.
of it is there's most of it's Milo's, but half of this is Trader Joe's sweet tea and lemonade, which is
Nice.
really good. We made a rare trip to Trader Joe's last night because we were in the area,
Right.
and I'm a little disappointed. They've cut back on stuff. I
It's the economy. That's you know.
can't get that big tub of chocolate chip cookies anymore.
Uh
Hello,
oh.
Tammy.
No chocolate chip
That's one
cookies
of the
for you.
reasons. Tammy Varro,
Tom's wife.
charmed. Who?
Charmed, I'm sure.
Tom? Who's Tom?
Tom Verl, tabletop tap room. Does all the Star Frontier stuff.
Oh, that's probably why I'm not into Frontiers.
That's okay. We forgive you, Glenn. Well, you went. All right. So I did Costco today, and for those who have been following along at home, I went to the Giants game on Sunday, and this old 55-year-old fuck with sciatica was in row of seats, fourth from the top, no bad seats at MetLife Stadium. Had great view of the stadium. Um, walking out was walking out from four rows from the top of the stadium to the ground, and then
Mm-hmm.
two pedestrian overpasses over like roads and highways.
So you
Um,
got your exercise.
I my watch was like, holy crap, yeah, you did a whole day's exercise in this walk. I was like damn near crippled on Monday. My glutes, my thighs. Oh my god! So today is the first day where I could actually walk at a semi decent clip. But of course, I went shopping at Costco. So there's a lot of walking involved in shopping at Costco. A lot of dodging other fucking carts, and and be able to be a gamer, right? You learn about like spatial, and it's like, all right, can my cart fit through those three carts that have been haphazardly left in the middle of the aisle because three random jackasses think that they're running away to something halfway down the aisle is more important than other people getting through. So you learn whether or not you can fit your cart or if you're going to be the asshole that shoves somebody's crap out of the way. But I gotta say, I've noticed the prices even in Costco are inching up. It's part of life right now, I guess I gotta say. But
Mm-hmm.
I at least like if I go to Stop and Shop, our local supermarket chain, if I want to get, I don't know, 8 9 lemons, the bag costs me $6. Here I got 5 pounds of lemons for $4.99. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
and 3 pounds of
I
lime.
mean, even it's getting so even Aldi is not, you're not safe at Aldi.
Yeah, yeah, and that I'm not trying to bring the real world misery into it, but it's gonna make sense. We talk about some later topics about these price increases. Neil, listening to you guys is a tonic, strength and honor. Well, God bless.
That's why I'm so tired all the time. I'm his tonic.
I need that tonic water. But I'll have my alcoholic beverages after the show. I need to be all energized for the show. I don't want to be doing this, because if I do that, then everybody else does that. Mr. Gunn's in the room.
Yep, I sure am. All I need to do, I need a big old fishing pole, a boat, and be out. I'd love to go out in Baja and fish. Oh man, sit around all day and drink and play with guns, I guess. I don't know.
Ooh. That sounds like an occupation.
Oh, and folks, maybe even write something once in a while. Folks, don't forget to come to North Texas RPG Con. There's going to be a special Peppa Pig role-playing game there, and the title of the adventure is Death to Caillou.
Oh, we're going all out, man. We're going all out.
I thought that'd be a great intro into your Hasbro thing you wanted to talk about.
Oh, well, okay. Well, listen, we've been talking Hasbro off and on in this channel for the last couple of weeks. They talked about how great D&D is and how great Magic the Gathering is, how great Wizards of the Coast is. And then it's like, but we're having this issue with a bad third quarter compared to last third quarter. And I always hear people go, yeah, but every third quarter is a bad third quarter. But it's not comparing your third to your second. It's comparing year over year. So why is Hasbro suffering? Because people are no longer sitting in their house, except for us. But people are going out, right? Maybe they're playing games in person, but they're going out to the bars. They're going out to the movies. They're going out. I mean, they're going out to the movies. The new Black Panther movie, Wakanda Forever, is what? $500 million already in ticket sales or something like that?
It's still hurting.
It's kicking ass and taking names. We weren't seeing it, obviously, during the height of...
It's not what I hear.
Well, I'm hearing it's making money, but it might not be making the money that they needed to make.
But it may be a critical failure, but
it's possible. Success. Listen, the people that I've heard it that don't give a shit about anything but an action-filled movie like it, and came out of it going, oh wow, it was great. And people that go into this looking to find politics in their movies on both sides came out of it generally either disappointed or worse. So I mean, but I don't know that people bring in their own personal issues. Pepperoni. No, Mr. Gunn, no pepperoni. Yeah, Hasbro promised a 50% increase in profits over 3 years. It's being hampered in several areas. Economic conditions have created strong headwinds and reduced available disposable income. Which go ahead.
I have a feeling that they're kind of feeling like the Germans in World War II right now, fighting too many fronts.
Yeah, well, and that's what, and they're basically trying to get rid of one of their fronts. E1, they picked up E1 about 3 years ago, and this is a TV producer and a movie producer franchise like The Rookie. I actually watched The Rookie first season. I thought was actually pretty good. I just lost interest after that. But they've got the Rookie, Naked and Afraid, The Woman King, Yellow Jacket. They picked this company up and they thought that this was going to be their other angle to work, and they could do their franchises like Transformers and Peppa Pig and D&D and get it all involved. And now, after their last meeting, where there was supposedly great interest in E1, they are now looking to sell off E1, maybe even at an auction. So,
but they're keeping Peppa Pig, so don't worry about that.
You can't. They're not going to lose Peppa. You got to keep the Peppa Pig. They're keeping Transformers. They're keeping Dungeons and Dragons. So what does that actually mean? Well, as Mr. Gunn said, there's an issue here. They don't have disposable income. They don't have liquidity, and they're looking to get back their investments. They're looking to get back about $3 billion, a little bit more. on this sale. That is again trying to appease investors, because remember earlier this year you had the push to spin off Wizards of the Coast, because it would have been a huge influx of cash into Hasbro. Likely would have been a nice payout to some of the larger shareholders in Hasbro. So this is part of it. They don't remember, companies like Hasbro aren't doing great work because they want to do great work. They're doing great work because they got to make a bottom line and pay back their investors. That's what they're responsible for.
Got to make their cheddar.
Yeah, in the middle of a digital pivot. Well, that digital pivot is changing a bit, because that integration of movies and TV. And I guess here's the thing too: if you have E1, I'm going to guess no one's on information. All right, and anything we talk about, Glen and I, is not investment advice at all.
Far from it.
Far from it. You don't want us to. I've made one good stock pick in my life that actually paid back.
I made one good stock sell in my life. So
okay. So you see, you don't want to rely upon us for any kind of advice about this stuff. All right. But I'm assuming they picked up E1 because it was their inroad, they thought, to Netflix and Amazon Prime and Paramount,
Disney Plus and all that.
Yeah, Disney Plus and all that. And instead it's turning into an albatross, and that's why they're trying to get rid of it. And to say they had all this interest in it, and then they're going to think about taking offers. I'm going to hazard a guess that all the interest in it is shit. We can't sell off Wizards of the Coast. What division can we sell? Oh, E1. Oh fuck! It's a headache. We don't want it. Yeah, sell it. If you can get back your initial investment, you're ahead of the game at this point. Because remember, inflation, it's killing stuff, man. It's going to make this. The headwinds are going to be huge from inflation. And yes, Mr. Gunn, the 1D&D announcement has also impacted sales of existing books. Always happens that way, as you state. But not only that, it's also going to impact brick and mortar stores, because brick and mortar is no longer in their view. They got blinders on. It's all going to be these physical digital bundles that you get directly from Wizards of the Coast / Hasbro. They don't have to pay distributors, sell to distributors at a lower price. They're going to make more profit off it. And if they lose a customer share, but still make more money, that's all that matters in the end. Hasbro let their talk outdo their walk. A lot of these companies all thought that the ones that did really good during COVID. Listen, people are up and people are complaining because, oh my God, Twitter is firing half their staff. Amazon is letting go of thousands. Meta is letting go of, I think, 10,000, something like that. All these companies are letting go of people. And why is that? Because they all pumped up because they were virtual companies. They were and basically enabled by the pandemic from people who were stuck at home. And now all these companies that were pumped up on these pandemic steroids are deflating. And that deflating means that you're going to have to find cost savings. And often cost savings means cutting staff. Wizards of the Coast doesn't really have all that much staff to cut. You're going to be, it's already down to the bone, especially on the creative side. I don't know what else they're going to do, but people are going to be cutting. Mr. Gunn says Hasbro clearly stated when Cox came on board that they were exiting the movie business. And that's certainly possible, but they didn't make a move until this latest third quarter to actually announce that we're selling a movie business. I don't remember his earlier quote. I wasn't following Mr. Cox all that clearly. And actually, I think he spells his name the same way.
I'll say.
I don't think
kill the cash cow.
Well, that's the other part too, right? I don't know. So I shared the other day that Amazon has the creatures from A through C from the Monster Manual. I've heard from people who actually have it. Yep, and they're very impressed with the quality of the minis and the paint job and all that stuff, and that's great. Okay, I could see myself spending a little money on that, or more likely it's going to be one of those. Hey, Rach, you want to know what to get me for Christmas? Here's what you get me for Christmas. Get me something that I'll actually have fun and enjoy. But
maybe it's a $50 Amazon gift card.
There you go. But $999.99, and for the rest of this, I'm going to say $1,000. For $1,000, you could get 4 booster packs of out of print Magic cards. Some are the ultra rare, ultra amazing ones that have long been banned from tournament play. These were collectibles, and now we're going to reprint them. So, what did you do? What did you do to your collectible market? You just,
killed it.
You killed your collectible market. What are you telling your regular customers? Hey, yeah, it's $1,000. I ain't paying $1,000 for what, 50 cards? I don't know how many is in a booster pack. It certainly can't be that much. Because you don't even know what you're going to get. A $1,000 gamble? No. But that was somebody at Wizards of the Coast going, hey, I know a way we can make a quick buck, and we can make our market numbers for the next quarter. Because how much was the cost? Nobody out there is going to tell me that it cost them, I don't know, cost them $500 to make that. No, the artwork was already done. These are reprints.
Yeah, they don't.
The cost of this is maybe
zero overhead.
Yeah, this is maybe $2, per. I don't know. We'll be generous. $10 because of this beautiful box that comes in, and they're making pure profit on that. Holy shit! And that is telling your customer base that you are all stupid. We expect you to buy this because you are a bunch of lemming, and that sucks.
Well, here's something. It's the interview Super Geek Mike. Needs people that can brainwash.
Well, again, they are looking for lemmings. You're not going to get lemmings out of the old school. Here's the secret, and I've known this for years, and I experienced it in my employment. When I was no longer in a position, when I knew my retirement was coming up, you could no longer tempt me with the, hey, maybe we'll give you a discretionary promotion. I've got an expiration date. I'm leaving no matter what. I'm good. All right, well, we're going to transfer you out of your unit. You were CEO of a unit. We're going to put you somewhere else. Why? Needs of the department. No. Why? Because I am no longer useful. I can no longer be tempted. I'm no longer going to, give 150%, hoping to get something. I'm going to be leaving. I'm good. Same thing with the OSR. OSR is not going to help 5e, right? If you're an OSR gamer, you're not going to go, oh, one D&D is coming out. Let me stop playing Swords and Wizardry, OSE, Osric, 1D, AD&D, first edition, second edition, Hyperborea, DCC. I'm not going to go from any of this. Go, oh, well, I'm really tempted by this 1D&D thing because it looks really awesome. Nobody's.
Hey, we weren't tempted by 4E. We weren't tempted by 5E. Why should we be tempted by this?
I mean,
yeah.
Well, failing to manage the Magic the Gathering portfolio is the whole story here. That is how you could turn a blind eye to the fact that your business is built upon collectability, and people are, even with your new sets that come out, people are looking to get those rare and ultra rares, not necessarily to play it in a tournament game or a fun game. They're gonna get, I got an ultra rare card, and it goes right into a fucking sleeve, and I'll hold on to it for a year, and then I'll try to sell it in the secondary market. I made a lot of good money off of beta cards back in the day. I look back and I'm like, oh man, I had some good ones.
Here's it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's a question for all this brouhaha. Hasbro didn't do too good in third quarter, so they want to sell off and make some money. Wizards just killed the golden goose with Magic the Gathering.
Yep.
Is Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast expecting D&D to pick up the slack?
I don't think D&D can pick up that slack right now, because here's the thing.
That's all. That's all Wizards has got left.
Here's the thing though. When it comes to D&D as a source of income at best will be flat. More likely will take a huge cut because of the announcement of one D&D. Their money coming in from like the DMs Guild won't change, and that's certainly a decent size, but not what's driving the company, and that's not what's driving the D&D brand. What's driving the D&D brand is theoretically the in-house releases, and the in-house releases are landing flat. And if they're landing flat now, they're going to keep on landing flat until one D&D gets released. Now, could they shorten the development time to hopefully get this thing out quicker so they can say, oh, we can now release, I don't know, 4 months earlier than planned, and maybe we can salvage some of that. I don't know. But it certainly is an interesting conundrum to be stuck in, and not that it directly affects us in the OSR. Even if, as I'm hearing, they don't want to include an OGL with one D&D. Remember, they didn't include it with 5th edition. They didn't come in until about 15 months after 5e hit the market. Does it affect anybody in the OSR? No. You can't. That chicken flew the coop and is free ranging. All right, you're not going to bring that chicken back in, and it can lay eggs wherever it wants to, and those eggs can hatch. They can hatch and grow up to new chickens and run around. You can just take a future edition and lock it down and say, well, you can't make derivatives off of one D&D. All right, that's fine. Mr. Gunn takes a while to pull together deals. According to Hasbro, now they're looking to take offers. So they're basically saying, hey, come one, come all, we got something for sale. And this year they can sell the lost game. I'm sure they're hoping to get a good deal that gets them. If they can make, now remember, even if they make a profit on this sale, inflation is up how much since they bought this 3 years ago? Probably close to 20%, right? So anything less than a 20% over what they paid for before is theoretically a loss. Maybe not on paper, but in reality. Who is Super Geek? I don't know. It's certainly not I. Yes, real life Tenkar. I have an expiration.
She's a very sexy girl. Super Geek.
You're not going to tempt me. I made that known. If you were going to tempt me, you'd have to hit me before my expiration date, and then maybe I would have stayed on an extra 6 months or a year. But no, the moment I hit that point, I literally was, we need you to spend the next couple of weeks covering the command center. I'm like, Inspector, transfer me. No, it's a temporary assignment to cover. I go, I'm not offended. I'm not upset. Just be honest. No, it's a temporary. Yeah, it's temporary. My ass. I went into it knowing it wasn't temporary, but I played the game. But it was because they wanted to move somebody in who was hungry and could be tempted by the carrot. I wasn't going to play that game.
Well, I asked my one smart question of the evening, so go ahead.
You have a smart question?
I have a limit of one.
No, you don't. You have an unlimited number of smart questions. So Super Geek is apparently his channel name. Greg Tito and Shelley interviewed him for Dragon Talk. Okay. But N-World is ripping his video apart now. If N-World is ripping your video apart, that's going to be pretty bad. Mr. Gunn thinks that the D&D movie is going to be bad because every D&D movie to date has been bad. All right. Well, listen.
Well, you never know.
This one has a budget, okay? And it doesn't have just a budget. It actually has some actors that I recognize, and I think their work is fine. I think Chris Pine does some decent work. Is he the best of the best? No, but I think he does a decent work, and he puts in some effort. And it looks like he was having fun in the trailer that's out there.
Yeah.
I think was it Rodriguez? I've seen her in a number of movies. She's good for the tough girl part, and she has a sense of humor. So I think with the money invested, if they pull this off, they're going to pull it off with a light humor, and it's going to be not a deep story. It's going to be like they pretty much meet in a tavern type of deal, I suspect. But I think they can pull it off. I have hopes, not extremely high hopes, but I have hopes that this is going to be a on a scale of 1 to 10, 7.5, maybe even an 8. Okay, but I mean, I put
Might be worth going to see.
I put things like Unforgiven and The Departed at 10 from recent movies. Those, though, this generation of movies, those are 10s. So I'm thinking you can get 7.5 or an 8. That's not bad.
Might be worth going to see with the grandkids. I know Gage will want to see it.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, heck, let me be honest. Okay, I have not gone to a movie since prior to COVID, and before COVID, probably at least 6 months to a year before COVID. So I haven't gone to a movie theater in years. I will be there for, if not the opening weekend, shortly thereafter to see this, because I know there's a bunch of F-bombs on Facebook and beyond that are going to be doing the spoiler alert after they've already spoiled everything, and I just like to get a little bit out of it, Yeah, Emerald can be blah, but they do some. If they're going to tear apart a video or cover a video in depth, anything they cover in depth, Wizards of the Coast TSR legal action. I don't know what's called a lawsuit, but they cover that in depth. So if you read it, if you want to read hundreds and hundreds of pages, which probably means thousands of postings, go ahead. I try to catch up like once a week now. It's slowed down. No bronies allowed in this channel. I didn't tell you that. I'm just saying you need to know.
That's news to me. No, I'm not a brony, but hey, you roll the way you roll.
My only problem with the Woman King is that a Woman King is a queen. We had Queen Elizabeth for half a century, and she was extremely well respected in that position. So I don't think she'd want to be called the Woman King. So,
Oh, by the way, show everybody your Hyperboreas. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, my Hyperboreas. Oh, okay, hold on a second.
He got his own. He got all his stuff. He got his big old leatherette ones, but he had a little problem with the regular ones.
I might have put that back in the other room. I think I did. So here's the deal. So the cardboard spine is broken, and some of the book is the internal pages are dented on the
player's book.
So what I will be doing, I had initially planned on giving the standard set away as an OSR Christmas gift within the States. I'm not shipping the shit outside the States. Fuck you. Sorry, I'm just getting defensive already. But it's still going to happen. Your player's book will be usable. I'll try to fix the spine as best I can. I don't blame Jeff Talanian or his company.
No.
They packed this thing with an AC -10. There's nothing that could have happened unless somebody took a truck and ran over the box and tried to do this damage. And they did.
And tried to cover it up.
Yeah. With like tons of tape. When I saw all the tape, I was like, oh my God. The only time I see this much tape on a box is when the post office has to cover up the fact that they
Is that tape that has the post office logo on it?
No, it's just regular tape.
I was going to say that's a dead giveaway right there.
Mr. Gunn, the Tenkar, the OGL will not be a PageL. They want a paywall. Drive-through RPG takes 30 to 40% cut right now. Drive-through's cut is 25 to 30%. So you would have to assume that they're only taking 25, and 25 is, or is it 20? No, actually, no, it's 30 to 35%. Sorry. So depending if you're exclusive or not. So, but I'm sure that with Wizards of the Coast, they're probably splitting it 50-50. That's still a huge amount of money you're giving away to another company for your IP to be used. So I suspect that like I said, there will not be an OGL. This is what I'm hearing. And I might people are like, well, it's just rumor. Agreed, it's rumor. My source has direct connections. Well, one of my sources has direct connections. Well, two of my sources in different states both have direct connections to the people that make these decisions at Wizards of the Coast. And this is not a decision being made by the creatives. The creatives understand the importance of the OGL. This is a decision being made by the bean counters who want to maximize the profits they can from the new edition. And the two things that I hear that's discussing is something like the DMs Guild, where they keep everything. If you want to publish for 1D&D using the new rules, that'll make it different from 5e, but backwards compatible. If you want to publish for it, you're going to have to publish within the DMs Guild or whatever safe harbor that they put together. And they'll be taking that 50%, the lonesome, or 40%, or whatever it is. Or they go to 4E route, which we saw how horrible a failure that was, where they ask companies to buy in for 10,000, 15,000. The thing is, you're not going to be able to hit critical mass and support doing that, because most companies are going to look at what happened with 4E and say, I'm not putting 10 grand as an investment into this. It's one thing.
I don't blame them.
It's one thing to lose a share of your profits. It's another thing to say, here's 10K and let's jump in. No, who's got the money to do that anyway? That's not going to be Joe Goodman. Joe put together DCC RPG after getting fucked by 4E. He's not going to jump onto that bandwagon. Frog God isn't. Troll Lord isn't. Paizo, they're not. So really, DM's Guild takes 50%, but that's not all going to drive-through RPG. That money is getting between drive-through and Wizards of the Coast. But there's also other restrictions when you're in the DM's Guild. You're in the DM's Guild and you put together Old Man Grognard's Tavern Tales, and you put it on the DM's Guild. You can't put out a Tavern Tales for OSE or Savage World. That whatever you wrote there stays within that market. You can't.
And it'd never go there then.
Nope. So just saying. All right. This is more brony talk. No more brony talk. No, I don't like your brony talk. A beer and pine nuts kind of movie? Sure. I mean, I wish we had in New York what I understand that you have out in Texas, maybe Oklahoma, like movie pubs where you can go and.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we've got right near us. We have Flick's Brew House.
Yes,
and I've never been there, but I still want to go.
That would be very cool. We don't have that option, so that's why I do most of my beer and pine nuts, or beer and pretzels, or beer and low carb snacks from the privacy of my own room with my large screen TV. But and I have to wait for things to get on.
I have to go to more to see if they still have, but we have like a theater with like 16 screens plus an IMAX next to it, which is 2 stories, and the second story is like for adults because it's got a full bar up there and all this other stuff. Plus, we've also got, well, that's not movies, but we got a place like, not Dave and Buster's, but like Dave and Buster's that have like bowling alleys and stuff.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's one here. So there's a movie theater with so many screens and a bowling alley.
That works. You see, Doc, the first D&D movie was shit because they let a fanboy make it. It was also shit because they didn't have much money invested in it. Special effects sucked. The script sucked, and the acting.
Boy, was it fun though! Boy, was it fun.
The other
watching Jeremy Irons go crazy is fun.
The other were made for Sci-Fi Channel. This one's being made by pros with plenty of dollars and a guaranteed audience of 5e players. It's not going to lose money. Now, is it going to drive money? Is it going to be
drive the game forward?
Yeah, I don't know if they drive the game forward like that. I don't know. It doesn't need to for Wizards of the Coast to be happy with it. I don't think so. Tenkar, yes, I mansplained that a woman king is actually a queen. You know what? There are a few people that have asked that question. I just figured I'd Tenkar, the other
Don't
way.
even get me started.
The French. I haven't seen the movie. My major was history. I like historical movies, but I don't like the ones that right from the start. I've already heard it is not historically accurate at all. I don't like. I can't. It's like watching a cop movie. I can't. I can only suspend my disbelief so much to enjoy a story, and if they screw up that much, I can't do it.
You're hyper. Okay,
Yeah.
let me show you. This is my leatherette one, but.
All right. Hold on.
I want to go to Eric and say, show me on the book where the guy touched.
All right, hold on a second. Glenn,
It's right. It was right around here.
Keep him entertained for a minute.
Hey guys, I hear chili peppers burn your gut. Anybody know what a reference that is? They're good. Yep. I've just hauled out my Hyperborea books. I got a Monday Hyperborea game that I got to get ready for. And once again, I'm slacking. But I do that anyway. So this is the part where I just sort of tap dance for a while. Sort of a mini Radio Grognard episode or something. I feel that there should be at least one save to die, no matter how many hit points you use or how many under you're at. We'll talk about that later. Here comes Eric.
All right, and hold on a second. Let me turn off the virtual background so it doesn't like. Okay. People hate the virtual background, but you know what? If somebody's walking,
I'm not too crazy about them.
So here's the first thing. You see, like that tear right there on it. Look at that. Look at that. So look at that.
Isn't that terrible?
Oh, and you see that dent? Look, I mean,
that's from a tire.
And it actually dents to the back. You can actually feel the crease on the back.
Wow.
Now, this was not done by anybody who is vaguely sane. You can tell where the hit happened. It happened at the bottom because you look at the top and you're like, oh, that book looks fairly normal. So, but you can see it even shifted because look at that. But is it still readable? It's still readable. It's just pre-warned for your enjoyment. So what I plan to do is I plan to do a little research and find out how best to repair this. I will put it under a nice stack of books to hopefully straighten it out a little bit. But you'll get that and the rest of the set.
You know Tim Snyder?
Yes.
He may be able. He's a bookbinder. He may be able to help you.
All right. I just want to make it. I don't want somebody who happens to be gifted on OSR Christmas to go, oh man, this is really. I would have been better off not getting a gift. No, you get. By the way, you're going to get the modules. You're going to get the atlas. You're going to get the GM's book. Those will survive. This took the hit. This laid down its life. I'm going to try to resurrect
for the rest of the books.
Yeah, we're going to try to resurrect. Well, actually, some people like a raised dead because it might not improve totally. But we're gonna try to bring it back from the dead. But it saved the rest of the party. So I got to say, I mean, honestly, whoever packed this went above and beyond. I don't think I've ever received anything in gaming material that was packed as well as this was. If it wasn't packed this well, I am sure.
And it still got wrecked. That's hard to believe.
It is. It really is. Yeah. It's amazing. Yes, Tom. One D&D to rule them all, and in the darkness bind them. That's, again, Wizards of the Coast is not there. Once a company reaches a certain size, they're not really responsible to answer to their legions of fans. Companies like Troll Lord, Frog God, Goodman Games, you can reach them, you can talk to them.
They don't deserve legions then.
You can give feedback. Wizards of the Coast wants anonymous surveys. That's how they get their feedback. They don't even do conventions anymore.
Oh, I gotta
Yes,
turn
everybody
it. Hang on,
wants what?
I gotta turn the fan on here.
Okay.
I'm dying. I'm dying in here, and it's 30 degrees outside.
Damn, I think you're cooler than we are outside. But see, folks, you're lucky, man. Half the time I do this, I'm in my shorts. I'm actually wearing long sweats because it's cold outside.
I'm mad that I have to wear a shirt.
Oh, well, you're not James Bond. Okay, it isn't shirts optional. We used to have one movie
James Bond.
that served beer and overpriced food. Well, I guess.
Yeah, they all do. They all serve overpriced food, but
yep.
Well, be nice the beer.
I'm almost caught up with the comments. Holy cow! We're getting. Let's see. We're almost there. You're all getting screen time. I can't read them all. I have booked out with Exalted Funeral. If you're writing your own work and find a good publisher, that's better than going with a platform like the M's Guild, and that's certainly true.
Why not?
And you control. The M's Guild will be like, well, you own your work. Yeah, you might own it, but you don't control it. It's a difference, right? It's like, well, technically, if you want to remove your work from our platform, you can, but you can't put it anywhere else. Oh, so I own it, but I can't use it if I don't use it here, basically. So I don't really own it. No, you own it.
That's another. Hey, that's another thing that may have happened. Forklift in the.
I haven't even told Jeff yet, and the reason why I haven't told Jeff yet is because, like I said, I bought the full set, basically two sets, a standard set and a limited set, like Glen was showing, with the intent of gifting to a random person in the U.S. during OSR Christmas. So I'm gonna tell Jeff that, listen, the post office fucked up a book that I wasn't even gonna keep for myself, and send me another one. I'll do my best to fix this one, and whoever gets gifted is gonna be happy they got gifted.
They will.
So I'm not really stressing it. That book's called The Saving Throw. Listen, I don't know if it was a saving throw, and I think that book just it was packed. Armor Class 10 was the packing for it. Amazing. I mean, bubble wrap over numerous times, taped, and then papers, and I was like,
Armor Class 0.
Better than that, man. Better than 0. Down to -10, but so. Yes, I'm glad you're glad I'm wearing pants. I'm glad I'm wearing pants too, or else Glen would never have gotten me out of my chair to go pull it over. I'll be like, I can't do that. Sorry, Glen.
Yeah, you're appreciated. I guess I'll have to take that.
Take it for what it's worth. So.
Chilly 58. Oy. I wish it was 58 here.
Last week we hit 74, or like on Wednesday, and now I think the high today was like 40.
I've been out of California long enough where I can appreciate 58. Hey, thanks, Rick.
Grognard. Glen is the Grognard. I'm just a grog. He's the Grognard.
Drinking the grog. I'm all out of drink.
I'm not sure if they had any kind of drama. There's always drama going on in this industry. So I could not tell you for sure. Mid-30s in the night. I believe it or not, one of my raspberry bushes in my front yard.
There's a good temperature right there in Burbank.
32, yeah. Ooh, 32 out by Rick Cap. I'll be glad that I don't think any of our listeners are in the Great Lakes area getting those torrential bands of snow. I think Buffalo is looking at 2 to 3 feet. I think they're going to set a record for November snowfall. Then their snowfall is not going to end until Monday. So they got a weekend of this shit ahead of themselves.
I just wish we could get through Thanksgiving. That's all.
North Carolina was 28 degrees Fahrenheit. My son's outside of Nashville because he works.
Well, according to my Kindle weather here, somewhere in the middle of the night, it's supposed to get to 25.
Damn, I guess being on a coast.
We're just not getting the precipitation. It's just cold as hell. But then again, it's Oklahoma. They get really cold, but they barely get anything else like snow or ice.
Right.
maybe
Right.
1, maybe 2 days every winter.
All right, so we're 40, going down to 32. I hope it's not hard for you tonight because I still have a few raspberries coming in that aren't fully ripe, and I want to make sure I pick them on the right.
I can give you raspberries.
I don't mean that kind of a raspberry. Who's got 71 degrees? You're in
heat
New Zealand,
wave.
though. You're in
He's
you're
heat
having,
wheel.
he's having summer. He's allowed. I'll grant him that. 28 in the Detroit metro area. Ooh.
So, now that I believe.
My one story about Detroit is that my friend Kenny, who's the one that introduced me to D&D way back in the day, a couple of years ago, he was out in Detroit and hopped in a cab, and as he's in the cab, he's listening to a podcast, and then he finally went, I know that voice, and the guy's like, you know Tenkar? He goes, he was listening to the Tavern Chat podcast, the cab club. And Kenny's like, yeah, I introduced him to the game. The guy's like, oh, you're shitting me. He's like, no, I introduced him to D&D when we were in, like, end of elementary school or whatever it was. He was like, they had to call me up. He was like, dude, I was in a cab and they had you they were playing your podcast. I'm like, wow, that must be a real gamer. Go figure that one out. Oh, man. Oh, you're not even in summer. Oh, that's right. You're in late spring. Well, Dan Kiwi. Let's see. A backyard ice rink.
Oh God, I hate ice storms. They're worse than snowstorms.
Yeah. And ice storms are where I go, like, I slip going to my car and land on my ass, and then I slide halfway down my block because I have a sliding.
Yeah, those are the things that are likely to cause the utilities to shut off.
Yep.
Including the internet.
Kevin Simbito was from Detroit. Used to game with him back in the late 90s. By the way, Palladium has a Kickstarter up.
Really?
Yes, and I kind of scratched my head because I thought their last Kickstarter shit the bed. Mm-hmm. Robotech Tactics. I mean, it shit the bed on, like, almost like a Ken Whitman level of shit in the bed, and I'm surprised they allowed them to come back, but hey, God bless them. I mean, the IP is fun IP.
That's right. I had to remind myself on my little Radio Grognard card. Kevin at the Red Caps podcast. Hey, how are you?
There you go. Glen knows
I plug him every episode. I probably do all these plugs. Don't get a dime mostly. I do get a few. I do get a few bucks. I got like 10 supporters.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh no, not that again. That game keeps coming back and coming back. But that's okay.
The old Game Designers Workshop game.
I think, isn't there a Savage Worlds supplement for that to play that? I think
there could be. You know what I want? I want Space 1999 RPG. What? The moon breaks away from the Earth. We got to survive on our own now. How many times can we destroy our shuttle ship and still have one left?
In case you can't see Doctor Who, we have Space 1999.
It's like, oh God! I mean, I had the Space 1999 shuttle, and it was large as a kid, and the cockpit could actually disengage from the cargo bay, and then you could put the rocket directly on it. So I don't know. I had it when I was like 11, 12. So what do you do when you're 11 and 12? You tend to put your, take your toys and see if you can push them to 11. So we had snow, and it was dark. So I mean, it was after 4:30 in December. Probably shortly after I got it for Christmas, I guess. And I decided to launch it into the snow, not remembering that underneath the 4 inches of fresh snow we had like 1.5 feet of ice. So it got launched, and then I learned about the wonders of crazy glue as I tried to get this thing back together. Oh my god, though. Memories. Wild Die, Space 1889.
That's right. Okay.
Out of print now. Okay, you can find it on. You can find it on the eBays.
Which remind me, I've got the Hyperborea thing going, but my group is making noises about something else.
What are they?
They want me. They're saying, well, why don't you run some more Savage Worlds? And I said, well,
Okay.
what do you want? What do you want? Well, you ran a game of the Goon. Can you run some more of that?
Maybe.
Okay. I mean, I've got the book. I mean, would you rather me do Flash Gordon or something like that, or 50 Fathoms? You know. Who knows? Well, who knows what I'll do? Who knows what's in the future? And future events like this will affect you in the future.
You and only you can stop bad RPGs.
That's right.
You got to be careful.
Remember the future, because that's where you're going to spend the rest of your life.
Dun, dun, dun.
As Criswell would say.
Don't live in the past, but plan for the future.
I'd love to take something like GURPS or Savage Worlds and use that GURPS supplement, GURPS Atomic Horror, and do 50s sci-fi stuff with it, or horror stuff. I could recreate Plan 9 from Outer Space. I don't know.
Well, I actually got an email today from one of the members of my old gaming group. It's my gaming group from high school, college, my post-college days. We still get together once or twice a year just to hang out and bullshit. And he asked me about Savage Worlds, of all things, and what I thought about it. And I was like, well, one of the last games that we played, my friend Dave used to run Rifts. I ran the D&D 2E campaign. Dave ran everything else, Battle Lords, Rifts, whatever. And he had a great time running Rifts. And I'm like, if you want to see a version of Rifts that actually is balanced and makes sense, you gotta get the Savage World version. You know, I don't even think he knew that was out there. So
yeah, he probably doesn't even know they got Savage Worlds Pathfinder now.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that. You need an adventure path? We got one. We got one for you. Come on, you know you always wanted an adventure path for Savage Worlds. I mean, I used to like what was it? Evernight. That was the one like plot. What do they call it? Plot point campaigns. Not quite a railroad, but kind of like a railroad. But that was one I was always interested in running or playing in, because it just seemed like it had a good storyline where you would not necessarily overly care that you were on a railroad. I mean, it read pretty well from my point of view as a GM. I read it. I was like, I like this. But I read a lot of stuff for Savage Worlds, and I never ran it. So,
yeah, I know. I've got a few things. Like I've still got to read Flash Gordon and Oddworld. I don't even know where my copy of Oddworld is. Plus, I have like Deadlands Noir. Got 2 of those books. I want to read them. Oh, good luck, Doc.
Oh,
with the 5e.
I'm sorry. I find the 5e news coming out and the Wizards of the Coast news very interesting because, like we've seen even in the OSR, there are rules from 5e that, since it's OGL, have traveled over to a lot of OSR gaming. Advantage, disadvantage. You see that popping up in new rule sets or OSR, and I think that's fine. I mean, my first I was like, oh my god, just give them +4. But you know what? I think that it actually works out pretty well. The issue with 6e is that, like I said, they are going to, I'm going to guess, they're going to also prevent people from doing derivative systems. So you're not going to have Mythgarther, or you're not going to have the EN World whatever, player it up or whatever it is. They added more crunch to 5e because you couldn't just go to Pathfinder. So I suspect too that when it comes out as 1D&D, you're not going to be able to create derivative systems that don't use their core books. You know what I'm saying? Even the OGL is not going to allow you to replicate 5e from the SRD won't be an OGL, but the SRD is not going to allow you to explain combat. It's not going to allow you to explain things like armor class and hit points. You'll have to refer to the core books for that. I'm spitballing here, but if I'm accurate, somebody out there is going to owe me a drink at North Texas. God damn it. Yeah, the system was meh for 1889. I'm trying to catch up, though.
Yeah, totally agree. He says, "Oh, there he is."
I'm getting there.
Yes. Thank you. I will soon. Let me ask you a question, Woodard. Would you mind a review at this time of Flash Gordon's? I ask this for the reason that I get very late. I found a few things that I totally forgot to review. Because I remember reviewing I reviewed Barrel Maze 4 years after it came out. And basically Greg was saying, thanks a lot. That helped. So, and because I get behind on reviews sometimes. And I don't want to, I'd love to do a review of it. Absolutely love to do. I just don't want to. I want to make sure, you're okay with it. Anyway, sorry.
Well, I know Ellison's very upset with 5e in general, but MacArthur is the one version of a 5e rule set that I would be happy. I would be happy to run or play it. I mean,
I can tell when I see Matt in a couple of weeks, next week, it's like, yeah, Eric likes your MacArthur. It's MacArthur.
No, I can never spell it.
You said MacArthur.
Arthur. I always put a G in there because it just seems like it should be.
I know, but I thought it was amusing. MacArthur. It has returned.
Hey, tell him. Hey, the fucking New Yorker is talking with marbles in his mouth again, and he's talking about, hey, MacArthur, like the thing, but I like the thing because even though it's 5e, it kind of reads like old school. And you don't need to break out a compass or a calculator or a abacus to figure out shit.
What were you going to say about it?
No fucking clue anymore.
Okay. In fact, folks, you ought to play MacArthur. It's a really good 5e derivative world and system, and it's out of print. So
find it if you can. Find it.
We'll see. He published that in a second edition, and then he decided he doesn't want any more because he got PO'd at 5e basically.
So basically, he's channeling his inner L. Okay.
Well, he's publishing stuff for like OGL for like BECME.
Okay.
Modules for BECME, but if you really like MacArthur, grab it while you can. Talk to Bad Mike. He has a lot of them, yeah. But I just thought I'd mention that and give him a plug too. So,
Mark, I believe it's CMG. I think was that Creative Mountain Games. I might be off. Mark had some great 3E OGL SRD products from back in the day when I was coming back to the hobby. Mm-hmm. It'll be 16 and require new core rules and conversion sheets for anything that came out previously. That's gonna. Backwards compatible, folks, does not mean that you can take things forward. Okay, it doesn't mean that your rule books from 5e are going to fit into 6e or 1D&D. It's not going to work that way. It does mean that with minimal conversions, which most of us have been doing in our heads for the last 30 or 40 years, you can use a 5e module in 6e. Like I can use a BECME adventure in 2e. right? Or Swords and Wizardry, or whatever.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
that's the kind of backwards compatibility we're looking at.
I like Professor Dungeon Master too. It's good. He's got a good podcast or
Yeah,
video
cast.
vlog.
Uh, exactly.
Whatever you young people
Yeah,
call
video.
that video stuff.
Yeah, he's. We had a good discussion, and we were talking over drinks at across from the complete.
Oh, you talked to him at
Yeah, we've gone to the complete twice. Him, Joe the lawyer, Rach. The last time Joe Block joined us. Some people from his local game, his regular gaming group, and
uh-huh.
he was like, "I can't believe you do these live streams." And I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "Well, live streams with guests." I'm like, "But why?" He goes, "Because they can just literally just drop a bomb in your lap and you're screwed." And I'm like, "Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe, but I mean, I don't
You
have
don't know me very
very
well,
well,
do
do you?"
you?
All my co-hosts I know extremely well, but even our guests that we have on, I don't go through and randomly pick people out of a pot and go, "Oh, all right, this guy has some random game. Let's reach out to him." No, no, I know these people. I've gamed with them, or I know them from Facebook,
I've
from
or conventions or yeah.
convention. A lot of times I've had private conversations with them, whether it was by PM or email or Discord. So I know the individuals that may come on the show and drop a turd. And there's a reason why some people that I am relatively conversive with, or people would say friendly with, will have never been on a show and likely will not be on a show, because I cannot guarantee that they will not uh, shit in the sink. We'll put it to you that way. Uh, just because they can. So you got to pick and choose. I mean, if I guest appear on somebody else's cast and I'm bred as a guest, I'll go on before I go on. I go, listen, what's your policy with f bombs? Because I need to know whether I have to consciously censor myself, because otherwise you'll need Glen to come in afterwards and delete them all. Because that was Glen's main job when we had a podcast. I was like, oh, so Glenn, like, yeah, I was gonna take another day. Why? All of our goddamn f bombs are making it.
That's why Thaco's Hammer. That's why Thaco's Hammer has its own producer now. He gets to do it. Mainly for Corey. Corey will forget every once in a while, so it's okay.
Yep. The Red Cats, I think you're largely correct. Wizards of the Coast will likely pull DM's Guild from Bookshelf, put it all and beyond, lock down third party to only go there, etc. So, and this is after having talked to some people in the industry. Um, I am going to slightly revise my guess. Yes, either they buy out DM's Guild and get a near full share, but maybe one bookshelf still hosts it and they take only 10% and 40% goes to Wizards of the Coast. Maybe, but not likely. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Um, but yes, bring it into D&D Beyond. But they still want to have third party publishers, but that third party publishers are going to have to buy in, and I will suspect have to agree to the same uh, internal workings as Wizards of the Coast has announced, that they're going to have uh, people review their books to make sure they're not offensive and stuff like that. So we're talking publishers,
Mm-hmm.
probably on the Kobold Press, Frog God, Troll Lord level, whether they would agree or not to those subjects, because otherwise they would only be able to publish within the D&D Beyond DM's Guild framework. Now, why do I say that it seems that there will be a breaking with Wizards of the Coast and our good friends at One Bookshelf? Well, over the summertime, One Bookshelf announced that they were going to a partnership with Roll20. Okay. And a partnership means that we're two separate companies, but we're working together, right? I have been told from a good source who's in the industry that the emails that they were getting from Meredith over at One Bookshelf no longer go back to One Bookshelf. They now go back to Meredith at Roll20.net, which would lead me to believe it is quite likely that they are now one company. They're going to rebrand as Roll20. Now, what would be the issue then with One Bookshelf and Wizards of the Coast? Well, figure this one out. Wizards of the Coast is banking, as they did with 4E, they're banking with 6E, 1D&D, that their virtual tabletop is going to be the driving part of this engine. Well, that means Roll20 is not going to be a driving part of your engine. We've already announced that it's going to be based upon the Unreal video game engine. So it would lead me to believe that sooner or later, likely whenever the contract is up with One Bookshelf, the DMs Guild will not be renewed. Now, am I coming at this with this is definitely what's going to happen? No. I'm coming at this from the attitude of somebody who's been watching in this industry for at least the last dozen years, has connections in numerous publishers and creatives, and this looks like it's an incompatibility to have a company that is now One Bookshelf / Roll20 and Wizards of the Coast / our own VTT to rule them all. That's an incompatibility. But we'll see. Won't we? All right, catching up again on all this goddamn shit. Listen, 5e is going to
Hey, I learned a long time ago what goes around comes around. You live long enough, you're going to be doing what you say other people shouldn't be doing.
Right.
I mean, I remember the first wave of Magic the Gathering. You know, all these grognards and all these other guys, you know, half the conventions, you know, have Magic and they were complaining about it. And I said, you know, this is probably what the Wargamers did when D&D first came out.
You know, you're probably right.
Just release Legends about, okay, I'll put that, I'll try and put that in turnaround, as they say. I will try and fast track that after I prep my game for Monday.
No, I'm a New Yorker. I can't pronounce anything right. I will gladly fall on that sword and admit that. But generally speaking, New Yorkers, if a word is longer than 2 or 3 syllables, we have to cut at least one. So if it's really long, because we got to talk fast, and if it's too long a word, you gotta.
I understand.
Forget about it.
I understand.
Forget about it. Come on, you gotta shrink it. And I'm not talking about jumping into the ocean.
Okay, he doesn't know how to talk. Move on.
There we go. Homer was the first myth.
Thank you, Mr. Gunn. I believe you can still get it on PDF at drive-thru. MythGarther. Mythgarther.
If we don't get Mike tonight, it's because his wife kept him out. So I gave him an invite.
Speaking of, I'll be right back, folks.
Yes, we had Rob pop in on Wednesday. Now, Rob, listen, we were supposed to have James, but James told us ahead of time family events may prevent him from showing. We only were going to get him for a half an hour of the 2-hour show anyway. So Rob was happy to come in, and Rob was looking to have another our random generated party for this week, but it's supposed to be next week. You know, next week's the holiday weekend. So we might not have it. We got to see. Does it matter if you're making stuff up as you go anyway? I mean, you know, every table is different. Agreed. Deathbringer is pretty good. Yes, with Professor DM. Dungeon Craft is another Garrity. No, not quite. Or I should say far from it. Certainly Dungeon Craft can actually hold a conversation. I don't think Garrity can. Yes, he does have to keep his job as an educator. You are retired, so you got the F this crap. Exactamento. Converting adventures to new rules is nothing. I do it because I don't use modules for adventures or stat out my own in advance. Fair enough. Mario Evil.
Okay.
It is okay. The deluxe version on his Patreon is better. We have an at. Why? I must miss some conversation, Mr. Gunn, because I don't see that. Interesting. There are very few YouTube channel gaming shows that I watch at any regularity. I don't watch any of them. But your work is locked into it with a contract. So no. I think what they would have to do is actually buy the DMs Guild from uh, One Bookshelf. I think that's how
Really?
they. Yeah. I don't think they could just dump the content. I think they'd have to buy DM's Guild, and maybe even call it DM's Guild. The One Bookshelf can't call it DM's Guild without Wizards of the Coast, because remember, DM is a trademark.
You're right. You are absolutely right. I am looking up something for somebody.
Oh, it was pretty much called a partnership. Roll20 and One Bookshelf partnership facts. So right from the start, it was supposed to be a partnership. Technically, not so much a merger, but if it is a merger, then there's an incompatibility with what Wizards of the Coast is going to be doing with their own. You're not going to. You don't partner up with somebody who's got their own VTT. So that's just.
Hey, Eric, would you put that up there for me?
Give me a second. This.
Mr. Gunn.
Hold on. I need to.
I'm putting up a link to MythGarther up there for you, Mr. Gunn. In fact, I just looked it up at drive-through. Not only can you get the PDF for $9.99, you can also get a soft cover. That's second edition right there. But if you put that link up there,
didn't go up. I thought it went up.
No, I thought it.
Well, the pick went up. I got to put the link up separately. Okay.
Yeah, that's yeah.
All right. Yeah. I was like, I got the I got the screen up, Glenn. What more do you want from me? Damn it! You want everything from my life.
No problem.
Hold on.
Damn right, I'm a mensch.
He's a mensch.
There you go.
He's a monster mensch.
Everybody should be a mensch. Oh, that gives me an idea. Song parody, Monster Mensch.
Glenn's correct. Me wargamers were upset over D&D, but only after it grew. Yep. At first, it was thought of as a set of wargaming rules. The designation of RPG was not there out of the gate.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I was just correcting his grammar.
We don't worry about grammar.
Hey, no problem.
Okay, look at that. I caught up. I can't.
How about that? How about that?
I can't believe it's not butter. But
I will say it again, that both Eric and I say, if we had a gun to our head and forced to run 5e, this is the 5e we would run.
And there's a couple reasons why I say that, not the least of which is 140 pages.
Complete.
Yes, complete. 140 pages. So that's something that I could get into, and that includes setting. So think about the bloat that you have in the core books for 5e.
I got to talk to Matt next time I talk to him, since he doesn't like 5e anymore, so he stopped putting this out, and he's doing like Beckme stuff. Why doesn't he convert the world over to like OSR?
Yeah,
Beckme, BX, something like that. Whatever he's comfortable with. I'm kind of partially to blame why he stopped making this.
Did you mock him?
Well, no, he said it came to the point where he wanted to take a break from being the always GM.
Oh.
And he said, can you run something? Said, yeah, I can run Hyperborea. And I ran one of the Hyperborea modules. And after he says, screw 5e, I want to do basic. Okay, because he forgot how much he loved playing basic.
I'm glad I make you laugh, Al. Yes. Gary Vee is a special individual, and I mean that in the most special way. So, oh.
And the horse you're running on.
So, all right, Glenn.
Yes,
We've
sir.
we've covered a lot of ground. What haven't we covered?
What haven't we covered? The fact that I don't have a game for Monday. I don't know. Are you going to be playing anytime in the near future?
Well, not a big secret. I've had a slight distraction going on for the last couple of weeks, but
Mm-hmm.
um, if it clears up like a bad case of acne, I will probably get back in the saddle for December. So we
Good.
should do.
Good. Now, this Monday game of mine is supposed to be, I calling it the last session of the year
Okay.
because I've been a gamer long enough to know every year when the holidays roll around, unless I do somebody asks me to do a one-off or something like that, everybody else is busy. So I don't
Right.
worry about, sessions or planning or anything. And my grandkids say they want to play D&D. We'll play some D&D, but that's about it.
That makes sense.
Out of 4 plus grandkids, I only have one that's really into this role playing RPGs. That's Gage. His brother couldn't care less, and the girls are like, "Oh, it's a fun thing to do." You know how girls are when they're growing up.
Yeah. Mm. It's
Yeah.
fun, but I've got more important things to do right now, like hang out with my girlfriend.
Yeah. So I'm just thankful Gage likes it. I mean, his fifth edition was like that was like a plot hook. That was like catnip to him. Hook, hook, line, and sinker.
Well, and this is something that it's not my idea, but and actually with his rule set, Matt might already be at a head start for this. He might not like 5e, but if he could break 5e down to 140 pages with setting and all that stuff, he might be able to break it down even more. And if you could come out
Really?
with if you could come out with a 5e rule set, not ramping up the difficulty like Enworld did, but something that when one D&D comes and 5e is going to forced to go away, you have a simplified rule set that everybody can jump on and play with their 5e
Mm-hmm.
material. You might become the new Pathfinder. Some reason to do it.
Hey, Eric,
What?
can you simplify it and break it down into 4 pages and call it 5e light?
I couldn't do it because I would have to read the 5e rules. Sorry.
Possible.
Oh, actually, I could read Matt's rules. Now you notice I'm not saying the name of the game because if I say the name of the game, I will mispronounce it and then I'll get in trouble. Miss Garther, Miss Gasser. Excuse me, Miss Gasser. No. All right. Well, in any case, there's a story.
Mr. Woodard, Mr. Woodard, what did you do? Oh my goodness. He just sent me a bunch of Flash Gordon stuff. Thank you. I'll have to figure out I'll figure it out later.
There's actually karaoke going on at like one of my neighbors' houses in their backyard, and it's 40 degrees outside. Because you have to enjoy a Friday night. I think it's the Filipino college students actually, but Doc says he hasn't been gaming much because he found other stuff to do. I just happen to find other responsibilities. I don't ask,
happens,
I don't seek them. It's called being married. It's like, oh, okay.
Yep, it's called family.
5e light. How about calling it flight? Or Flight of the Conchords? Or is that just a step too far?
Could be.
And just as a purely inconsequential note, when Rach and I were dating, the first 2 things I had her watch were The Job, with Dennis Leary, who later on did Rescue Me, and Flight of the Conchords. So,
really?
Yep. So it's like, and it's like, yeah, so you get a sense of how my sense of humor is.
Dennis Leary's fallen off the face of the earth, I think.
Yeah, you don't hear much of him at this point at all.
He doesn't even do stand-up.
No. Well, he's got enough money, I guess. He can take it easy and retire. While Di says that they try to run play face-to-face every week.
I know. I'm down to once a month because the rest of the group is online playing 5e Eberron.
Oh, well.
I'd love to get back face-to-face regular, a little more regular than once a month. Half the time my game gets canceled because where we play over Jimbo's, they got 2 kids, they got 2 toddlers, and you know how it is. Can't play over here. There's no room. There is no room to do that around here.
Understandable.
Oh, well. I'd have to go out to a public place or something.
Then you got to be like...
Maybe...
You have to be
hey, you know what? Dick Van Dyke and Bob... I got the complete series of both of those on my shelf on DVD.
Yeah.
I hardly ever get to... I got so much stuff to watch. It's like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to find out time to watch this. Anyway, but yeah, those are probably my two favorite sitcoms.
This is my brother Daryl, my other brother Daryl.
No, not that one. No,
not
that psychologist.
Oh, the early, not when they were running.
Yeah. It's Hi Bob.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, the good one. I call it. I mean, Newhart was all right, but Bob Newhart show was just wonderful. Wow,
it's much better.
Yes, it was much better. Anyway,
you'd be welcome at their. Isn't Wild Eye out in the West Coast?
Yeah, sometime if I ever come out there again.
All right. Well,
I
think we may have taken this to the limit. Actually,
War on our welcome.
Well, I don't know if we won on our welcome, but I think actually I'm still, my body is still exhausted from Sunday's football game and all the goddamn walking. So I'm trying to catch up. As a Roman umpire, that sounds accurate. I'm not even sure what the heck that comment meant, Cal. I will pass. Thank you, Mark. Folks, if you haven't yet, look at the bottom of your screen. You see tenkarstavern.substack.com. Real simple. If you go there, and if you want to subscribe to the newsletter, that's awesome. It's a once-a-week newsletter. And what it does, it gives you the past week of not just a highlight from this channel, but if Glen does videos again, we'll have his video channel back up. Joe the Lawyer, Matt Jackson, I'm going to go Tabletop Tap Room, Joe Block, Benoit Poirier. And we're expanding as it goes on. It's an informal group where we just want you to catch our latest and greatest. You can just go to the site and read it, or you can
do it,
or you can subscribe to the newsletter. It's
by the way,
yes.
Random generated party. I'm not sure if I can always do it, but ring me up sometime. I'll do it.
All right. Well, Glen, if I'm
available, yeah.
I know Rob is like chomping at the bit to Rob is like our next one. We might not. Joe is going to have family obligations and stuff. Wouldn't be able to make Friday, so it was like we might have one can we move it up a week or move it back a week? I'm like, nah, there's no play. But I don't have a problem having a show next week. So if we can get enough randomly generated people to show up,
Maybe.
we may be able to pull something off.
We shall see. We shall see. Of course, next week is Black Friday.
Biggest geek is boomers. They don't know how to join the Substack group thing. Okay, well, they can just ask. It isn't hard. They know how to reach me. I'd be happy to add them. But, what's the saying? I'd be wary of joining any group that would have me as a member.
Yeah.
They know the members of the group that they're joining. We've tried to keep growth down to just adding one channel a week at most, because if you just add too many channels, but in the end, I think we're going to come out with at least a dozen channels that are going to be linked to it, and it gets a little bit more exposure to everybody, and there's no zero sum game to this shit. If you listen to Glen's latest podcast on Anchor, it doesn't mean that you can't listen to Joe the Lawyer or Benoit or Joe Block. It isn't a zero sum. But if you can find them all in one lucky place, maybe you get a good idea what's going on. No LARPing. No bingo card. Oh, that's right. Bingo cards. We'll have the bingo cards out for next week. If you are subscribed to the Substack, we're going to announce the bingo cards, and then you'll have bingo cards for the next show. I'll put them out this weekend.
I'm going to try and get another Thanko-Zammer out there too. So,
you should. You better get that other Thanko-Zammer.
Brian says I got to dig out my AD&D second edition trivia game so we can play another round of that.
Ah, that's fun.
I've got a copy of that. Yeah, we've done 2 or 3 shows where the other 3 go up as contestants, and I'm the guy who runs it.
Nice.
Because it's my set.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Besides, I couldn't answer any of those questions.
Last time I went through that was like 10 years ago, and I could still do about 9.
They were hard.
My only issue, and the questions I would get wrong are ones that change from first edition to second edition. So that's am I still as fluent in my knowledge now? Probably not.
Well, we kind of restructured it in where the first person to get to 10 points wins. You get so many points depending on how hard the question is, and you can go negative. So you may not say 10 is very much, but it's like you can go negative.
Yeah.
Actually,
to tell you the truth, I thought it was for 2E. You could be right. It could be for 1E. I haven't pulled my set out of storage. That's what I thought. It was 2E. I haven't pulled my set out of storage since shortly after Rich and I got married. So I'd
have to go raid the garage and find it.
So
anyway.
All right, folks. That endemic thing that we're in right now, use your common sense. Okay. I can't. I'm not gonna go much deeper than that. Be safe. Be well. God bless. Roll those dice. Roll them well. We're entering the holiday season, which means what? Holy days. If yours are coming up, God bless you. All right.
Thanko-Zammer, Radio Grognard.
Game with Health, 8 p.m. tomorrow, myself and Rach. Hear me bitch about my fucking legs. All right. Thank you, folks.
Good night, folks.
We'll catch you later.
Bye-bye.